Welcome to episode 5 of the Pressure Point Dojo right here. I'm your host, Chris Thomas. I'm the chief instructor of the Kyusho Jitsu Kenkyukai. We've been looking at a way of understanding pressure point fighting using 4 broad categories. We've already covered the first 3, and now we're ready for number 4. We're also going to begin to look at a very important concept, which is part of the entire pedagogy of Kyusho Jitsu. It's called Kata boonkai. And we're going to spend some time looking at a few moves from a specific kata called basai to help you kind of understand this concept, this idea of boonkai. But first on this episode, we're going to take a look at something that's incredibly important. It's known as Capo. These are traditional revival techniques that are used because, to be honest, when you engage in a martial arts practice, you can knock somebody out, even if you're not trying to. And so many traditional arts will have ways of restoring or reviving or waking up people following a technique. So let's go into the Masterclass to learn about basic revival, but not in the usual location. This time, the Masterclass takes place in the Sultanates of Oman at the Hwara Sports Hall Training Center. All right, so the point is right here. This is it. Okay, now grab me. Watch this. Grab. I touch. Okay, let's cover. We're gonna take a detour. Can you sit down and cross your legs? We're gonna take a detour and talk about how to fix. Sit cross-legged. So I hit him on this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my fingers and I'm gonna tap right here. It's the other side. But what I'm interested in here, I don't hit this point on this side. I'm hitting. There's no point here. This hollow place has a nerve going through it, which is called the accessory nerve, the spinal accessory nerve. When you tap the spinal accessory nerve, it helps wake up the brain. So if somebody's been hit in the head, if you have an ice pack, you put it right here. It helps bring it up. That's why, yeah, boxers, right? Boxers always have that ice pack. The cornermen put it right there. That's the spinal accessory nerve. It helps make the brain more alert.
Should be the right side.
Opposite side you hit. So whichever side you hit, you stimulate the opposite side. Now that's step 1. So that's to kind of wake him up. Then I need to make sure there's enough energy in his head. So what I'll tend to do, what most people will tend to do is we'll tend to do this. We'll, not too hard, but go up. This is called the bladder meridian. You just kind of shoot up the meridian this way. This pushes chi into the head. Now, unfortunately, that's not the direction the chi is supposed to go. So if I stop right there, he will have a headache. So this is just to make sure he's awake. Then we have to go this way. I want to get the energy moving the direction it's supposed to go. So this is the basic, when you strike the head, this is the basic thing that you do. Short version. Now, let's say that we've been working pressure points and we want to kind of finish up the day. At that point, we're going to do what you saw me doing the other day. I think you took one hand and I took the other. We went through and we took the fingers. We went one at a time. This helps open up the meridians. This is really good for the end of training. Like this, see, it's on. It could also be done this way. Either way. I like to go side to side. What this does is help open up the flow. Helps the meridians just kind of channel up. You can also do that on the toes. You generally don't need to. By the way, the reason we cross the legs, if somebody is unconscious and they're laid out flat, we still cross the legs. And the reason we do that is when a person is unconscious, we're trying to kind of keep the energy. Think of it like bleeding, right? If you start bleeding, you have to stop the bleeding. When you're unconscious like this because you've been hit on a pressure point, you sort of leak energy. It kind of just spills out of you. By crossing the legs, we keep that from flowing out. That's what we're trying to do. All right? Now, Here's what I can tell you for sure, because I have no way of measuring, seeing if your energy is spilling out or if, I just follow the protocol I was taught, but it's worked really well for us for 25 years or 30 years or whatever. It just has worked really well, so we keep doing it. It's been effective. It wakes people up. If it's done properly, they don't have a headache, and they're usually doing pretty well. Every so often, somebody is really messed up, and they need some extra work. A general rule of thumb is the person who does the knockout is the best person to do the revival, but anyone can do revival. It's just harder if you're reviving somebody who someone else knocked out. So it's always better to be revived by the person who did it. I do want to emphasize something when we're doing the revival or the Capo technique. When you're doing the hit on the what we call spinal accessory nerve here on the back of the neck, first, be careful. Don't hit too high. You don't want to hit the pressure point right here, which is called gallbladder 20, and actually knock the guy out. And the other thing is don't hit too hard. I have seen some people do their capo in such a way that it made me cringe. Like, oh, I would rather have been knocked out by that person than revived by that person. So it's better to hit a little too softly at first and to repeat it with maybe a little more, just turn it up a little so that you get the nerve response, but you're not causing any additional trauma. And again, all of this stuff should be trained and practiced under the supervision of a qualified instructor.
Hi, my name is Tony Monty from Winona, Illinois. I teach Taekwondo and Hapkido, and I have recently joined the KJK website, subscribed to it. And I guess the best testimonial that I could give is I have taken one technique every week off of Grandmaster Thomas's website to my Hapkido class, and generally I pick the biggest guy there to test this technique on, and for 3 months I have not had one single technique not work, not only work well, but work very well with ease. As a littler guy, it has made a world of difference.
Masterclass with Chris Thomas is an extensive library of in-depth video instruction covering Isshinryu Karate, Ryukyu Kempo, Tai Chi, Okinawan weapons, and so much more. It's a great value at $399 per year, but as a viewer of the Pressure Point Dojo, you can subscribe for only $119 per year. That's an amazing 60% discount. Just use the promo code DOJO when you subscribe. That's DOJO in all capital letters. It can sometimes take some time between when you complete your subscription and when I activate your account, because I have to do it manually. But you will receive an email from me personally once that happens. Trust me, it is worth the time and the effort and the wait. Now it's time for us to look at the concluding section on those 4 broad categories which help you comprehend the art of Kyusho Jitsu, even though if you're like me, you'll spend a lifetime learning the details of it. Let's go back to the master class. To review, area control, systemic compromise, relational artifact. Area control, where is it? How do you attack it? Angle and direction, touch, rub, hit. What does it do? What's its name? Systemic compromise. Hey, attack any point on the meridian, and if you could attack the actual organ itself, that would be good, but it's actually hard to get. But any point on the meridian becomes weakened. Relational artifact. First, we talked about diurnal cycle. Energy flows through the body. Just follow that, because when I hit a point, it stops the energy from going to the next meridian in the cycle, so I just go after that meridian because now it's weakened. Yin and yang, when I hit a point, it calls for reinforcements from its closest ally, which is its husband or wife meridian. That meridian is weaker. 5 element, when I hit a point, the negative energy I put into that point gets shunted into the garbage meridian. And the pattern is metal cuts wood, wood penetrates earth, earth obstructs water, water puts out fire, fire melts metal. And then there's the rule of the special points, the ones where there's just like individual stuff and it gets a little crazy making. But here's where it gets simple.
the fourth and final principle. It's called kinesthetic response. Kinesthetic response is incredibly easy. I call this pressure points for dummies. Pretty much all I have to know is a few points. I don't even need a lot. I don't even have to know the theory. All I have to know is that right from the beginning, if I attack a point, the body reacts in a predictable way. Area control is part of a predictable body response. Part of that predictable body response is what happens in the immediate area, but part of it is the way in which the body guards or protects the organ. In the process of guarding or protecting the organ, what happens is the body sacrifices something else. It makes something else weaker. Here's a simple way to put that. When I attack a point, something hides, something else is sacrificed. Something hides, something comes forward, hit what comes forward. It's that simple. It's really that simple. You can take the whole thing and reduce it to that fundamental principle. You attack a point, you're going to get a reaction that's going to expose something, and all you have to do is hit that something, whatever that is. And all of the principles that we talk about manifest themselves some way or another in one of these kinds of reactions. Every single one will. Look, so this is triple warmer. Oh, it can be helpful for me to know the principle that, hey, I'm doing triple warmer on one side, there's triple warmer on the other side, and I'm just following the rule of systemic compromise. But I don't have to. I just go, oh, I can hit there. You see? It starts out seeming overwhelming, but it ends up being incredibly simple. Hit a point, attack a point, something hides, something comes out, hit what comes out.
Kata. The traditional practice of the martial arts, what is sometimes referred to as forms or prearranged shadow boxing routines. The way my teacher described kata, he said, kata map out the exact angle and direction for attacking the pressure points. In other words, the movements of kata show you how to do the pressure point techniques. The problem is you have to figure out what's missing. What's on the other side of that? Because you're doing a movement when you do the form, but on the other side of that movement is an attacker. So boonkai, and by the way, there are two words that are sometimes used. One is boonkai and the other is oyo. Boonkai means to analyze, and oyo means to apply. These are the ways in which you take the kata movement and use it in a realistic and effective way against realistic kinds of attacks. So an important question then is, how do we get from those kata movements to the boonkai, to the pressure points? How does that work? There are a set of principles that have been used and described that we try to teach people, but sometimes the best way to get it, at least at first, is to have it modeled for you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go and take a look at a few moves from that last section of the kata basai, just from the last chunk of it. And you can see how boonkai works its way out. And in that, you're going to hear some of the principles and concepts at work. So let's go into the master class.
When I talk about kata and interpreting kata, we talk about show and tell. Show is where the movement of the kata exactly matches the application of the kata. In other words, you do a thing. And then your opponent's body, kind of like a puzzle piece, fits what you're doing. So a great example would be, let's say I'm doing agi-uke, so maybe in the kata I have like this, and then the kata has me go like that. We can see that when I'm actually, it just fits. Everything fits together. I'm just doing the move of the kata. I just do it exactly the same way, and his body works. And so from an application standpoint, all I really need to do is figure out the attack. Because if I have the attack proper, I mean, if I understand what it's being used against, then his body reacts in a way which matches what the kata is doing. So that's a show. It shows you what you are to do. A tell is a movement that gives you information. So in this particular case, the information is that it's these equal. Leg and hand equal. Opposite leg and opposite hand equal. It was one of the first things I was ever taught. The technique meant that you grab onto the shoulder with one hand, and with the opposite leg you kick here and you pull down, but you do them equal. So you can see I kick, I get a nice reaction, I pull, I get very little reaction. I do them equal, and down he goes. Now look at where he is. Okay? So if I come over here and I put my hand on his head, there's going to be a natural thing he does. You know what that is? He's going to push against my hand. He's going to push up. He's going to push like I'm trying to hold him down. And he's literally going to be like, you're not holding me down, bud. So if I just let go, and that's actually the next technique of the kata. Tell you something about stomach 5. Stomach 5 is a great point. So here's something about stomach 5. If I take my fist and I tap him on stomach 5, it works, but it's not great. If I open my palm, now it works much better. Watch, so I'm tapping him, annoying, 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 nothing, come over here, boom. See, right hand to the right side of the body, right palm to the left side of the body when you're hitting stomach 5. So I want to get to stomach 5. How do I get there? So I have to bring my hand over here and then attack this way. But at the same time, I get to control. I don't want to get hit, so I need to manipulate his body a little bit. Oh, there it is. So that's this motion. See? So I came across, up, and then there's a slight downward motion on the end. You see that scooping downward action. So I want to rake down on stomach 5 with my closed hand to make that work. This time the guy is entering with one of those kind of big, old, stupid haymaker kind of punches. So the main thing I want to do is get offline. So I start to move offline here, and I'm just going to control this. And there's that leg coming. So I'm... Oh! So that's, boom, like this. I see in my head all of these different applications, these boonkai. I want to thank you for joining me here in the Pressure Point Dojo, and I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. In the meantime, I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for watching. Now go train.